What's your name? Knowing who you are in Christ is more important than you think, and not just for you. Find out why in this episode of 5 Minutes Closer. I'm Vaughn Weatherford, and this is 5 Minutes Closer. For the next 5 minutes, let's explore some biblical truths and apply them to your life. No podcast, including this one, can transform your life or give you what you really need. Only Jesus can do that. You can find out why in what I've called the first five episodes of 5 Minutes Closer. Each following episode explores scriptural truths that, if you follow them, will bring you 5 minutes closer to the person God created you to be. Let's see if we can get you 5 minutes closer. You can learn a lot from a name. I remember a few years ago, my family visited the Shepherd of the Hills attraction in Branson, Missouri. While walking around the grounds, we came upon a corral where they let you take horseback rides. My daughters saw the horses, and that was it. They had to go on a ride on a horse. You have to understand, I had ridden a horse all of twice in my life up to that point. Once in my uncle's backyard on a horse that his back swayed so low it was almost all the way to the ground. You had to step down to get on this horse. And to say that he was slow would give turtles a bad name. The other time I rode a horse was at a youth camp where they had some horses that you literally could do anything. You could pull the reins, you could yell, you could jump up and down, you could get off the horse, and that horse was still going to go on the trail the same way that he had 1,000 times before. To be honest, I wasn't too excited about riding horses, but I was Dad, and dads are supposed to know everything. So I ponied up the fee, no pun intended, and we saddled up. My wife and youngest daughter went with the ponies, probably where I should have stayed, and my oldest daughter and I went out on the big trail ride. Now, before the ride started, the trail hand introduced us to our horses. There were probably 15 people on the ride, and they had lined us all up in front of the corral with our horses, and he went down the line. He gave the name of the horse and a little bit about it. This is old Sal. She's a good old gal. This is Hank. Just give him a pat now and then, and he'll bring you on home. This fellow went down the line, introducing us to Old Paint, Sarah Sue, and all the rest of the horses. No problem, I thought. Old Sal and Hank wouldn't hurt a fly. I can do this. Then he came to my horse. He looked at me and said, "Sir, you're riding Whiskey. Just be sure to stay far enough back from the horse in front of you because he kind of likes to bite." And then he looks at my daughter who was riding the horse following mine, and he says to her, "Be sure and stay a few yards back. Whiskey likes to kick." Wonderful. Here I am, a veteran of one lap around my uncle's backyard, and they put me on a horse that hates people. Why couldn't I have Sal, the good old gal? No, I get Whiskey, the horse that bites and kicks. I spent the rest of the trail ride wondering what my vacation would look like from inside a full body cast. You can learn a lot from a name. If you're going on a trail ride, the horse named Whiskey is probably not the horse you want. Peter, in 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, reminds us that as Christians, we carry the name of Christ. That means God calls us to be examples to the world, a visual demonstration of what Jesus Christ can do in the life of a believer. It's a responsibility we should never forget. Here's what he says in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. "Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles to abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage against your soul. Keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God in the day of visitation." In the verses previous to this passage, Peter reminds us that as believers, God has changed our name. He says, once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. And now he tells us to live our name. We are sojourners and exiles. We don't belong to this sinful world anymore. The people who see us should see the difference that God has made in us. Peter no doubt remembered the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, where Jesus said, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." When those around us see how we live, even if they falsely accuse us, they should always see our good deeds. That's a high calling, but that's your name. Live your new name in Christ. You can. And now you're 5 minutes closer. My prayer is that these 5 minutes have challenged you, inspired you, and caused you to consider applying God's message for your life from His Word. To find out more, visit our website at 5minutescloser.com. Join me next time to see if we can get you 5 minutes closer.